Chapter 14. No need to fear death. Whatever has happened, pleasant or unpleasant, never try to hide it from the child, so that the child would be seemingly protected from an unnecessary suffering and pain. It is necessary to explain life to the child in a language he can understand, and to allow him to live this very life in his own understanding. And it is the role of the parents to expand his understanding. A child being raised with love and sincerity shall start asking such questions that sooner or later shall bring issues that even the parents themselves do not dare to answer. Why has grandmother or grandfather died? What can the parents tell the child if they do not know themselves why the grandmother or grandfather died? Why do people die? Thus, in a very distorting way, they try to protect their child from all such phenomena that, according to them, are tormenting and painful even for them, not to speak of their little beloved one. This is the biggest mistake from the material point that is being made by developing humanity. No one can ever escape the experience of one's material death. Therefore, it is necessary to know its meaning and purpose. It was for this great enlightenment of man that I also came to this wonderful world of yours 2,000 years ago, to enlighten and comfort people rather than to redeem people's sins and scare them when they saw how I was tortured to death by my beloved creatures, my brethren. I came to this world to bring light about the source and center of all lights that you call God, and the Jews in my times called Yahweh, the God of Israel, the Father of Israel. I came to this world to explain in the then environment that to the people of that time, that this very Yahweh, this very God of Israel, the Father of Israel, was the Father of each, a loving Father, and non-punishing Father. He had no intention to torment souls and one's death was not man's frightening end, but rather only the very beginning to a real eternity. However, I had to adjust myself to the then concepts of the Jews. Even though the Jewish fathers and mothers did love their children so much, like nowhere else in the world of that time, they treasured a family life so highly, like nowhere else at that time. Still, even the Jews were afraid of death, and let tears roll down once death visited their families. I desired to provide them a bigger light and to show the way to reach it. But the dominant rituals of that time had managed, generation upon generation, to control and subdue the subconsciousness of the Jews so much that my light frightened them, and they did obey the dead rituals devised by the rabbis and Pharisees rather than the liberating good news, the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man that I brought in. And this constraining darkness of rituals, as well as enslaving them, does not allow even the modern families, already in the 21st century, to feel a liberating impact of my gospel, the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. And without this impact, it is impossible even for the loving parents to raise their children as free and loving children, who in their turn would raise their own children with love and mercy as the children of one Father and as brethren among themselves. Without this type of upbringing of children, there shall never rule peace and comfort in such a wonderful world of yours. And never shall man deliver himself from the fear of death. For you to be able to experience the sensation of a spiritual freedom so that you would make certain by yourselves that your life must be lived as real and in reality rather than a seeming and an illusion. I'm presenting to you this much deeper and more expanded concept of reality. A fairly large part of you is ready for such a concept, only you do not know where this deeper wisdom can be found. It is this book that shall be that step that will lead you to this magnificent experience, so that you will begin to experience the reality of my words by yourselves. It is only then that you shall notice that the dogmas and rituals that have incarcerated you have disappeared, as an opaque fog that has just recently held all the reality surrounding you under a complete cover. Now that you have recovered your eyesight, you shall feel the impact of freedom and space on your soul. And this experience will let you perceive that there is no death. Therefore, there is no need to protect your children from it by fearing to explain to your beloved little ones about the death of grandfather and grandmother. Meanwhile, at first, it is you who must learn that there is no death. There is only people's ignorance and unwillingness to know what this reality is. In order for you to know what reality is, I invite you to travel with me in a similar way as when I used to be taken by my father on his outings around the Nazareth vicinity and explained what we could see from that high hill.